All right, here we go again. Buckle up, rough roads ahead. So, there are several uh, factors affecting everything. However, we break it down into three categories, could even be broken down further, but for human consumption, this probably works the best. We have the metaphysical, the psychological, and the physical. All three are tangible and you should see them the same. Like the physical world, you see, oh, physical, yeah. If I say psychological, it's a little fuzzier. If I say metaphysical, you're like, what? Well, although not everybody, some people can see, and everybody's supposed to see. That was one of my works, is for me to wake the planet up, and I think I did to a certain degree, but it's hard to gauge. And I'm not speaking about something called awoke, but it's people that are awoke are also awakened at times, not all of them. So again, the planet is very confusing in that way as to what everybody is actually speaking about. Talk is cheap, we speak. It's a tangible. It's actually physical. It's like it has mass. You should in your mind. It should psychology and metaphysics should have mass, but like in more of a spiritual mass. So the metaphysical affects the physical also. So if they blind you, if they put a curse on you to blind your ability to see where to go to have a successful, well life, then it's going to affect your psychology also. But the primary thing that did it was the metaphysical. It's just the physical is reacting to the metaphysical, which is affecting the psychology and the physical. So if you go to the gym, you're healthier generally, right, in life. If they block you from the gym, what happens? You're unhealthy. But where does it come from, actually? The curse. Now, there's ways for them to achieve additional satanic anti-power, no matter whether they're religious, non-religious, gay, straight, or anything in between or outside of that. And that's to do their neighbor dirty. If you do your neighbor dirty, you'll get a lot of power or anti-power in reality. We call it power, but it's actually anti-power. So again, there is a physical component to witchcraft. Or anti-witchcraft, I would say, something of the nature. The problem is when you speak to the whole planet, and Satan designed this, everything means something different to everybody. And then if you tell a Christian witchcraft, is there actually a white witch? You could be a white witch, and that doesn't mean you're raised. You could be a good witch, but you're not really a witch. And people that call themselves white witches aren't good witches, because what they're doing is they're manipulating they're manipulating the planet outside of God's will. They say, "Well, I'm doing good things," but like I said before, here's an example. I want my daughter to graduate university, top of her class, and I want to be that university. I start wanting that, let's say when she's in ninth grade. What do you think happens between ninth grade and when she attends that school? Here comes the popo. There's a school shooting. Let me heal that. We should heal that, because that's what just came up out of that. Go popo, go! So what do you think happens? That happens. Some tragedy. A school shooting, a car accident, drug use, prostitution, white slavery. Because what you're doing is you're knocking out all the other people that would be ahead of your daughter if you had that way. If you were Larry Ellison, you could do that. If you were Elon Musk, you could do that, generally. There's the fire truck. So see, and there's the ambulance. So see, that's what happens when you wheel your daughter into some college, university. Wow, it's a big one. They read. Big fire response. He's got the woo boo woo boo woo boo alarm on, or siren. Woo boo woo boo woo boo woo boo. So you think you're just, playing the game and getting your daughter where she needs to be in life and, have her succeed. Now, if you pray to God, God could, possibly move your daughter up. Or here's another example. The first day your daughter attends that school, what happens? A tragedy and she's dead. Because you moved outside of where God would have put her. So I'm not saying your daughter should be a prostitute, but believe you me, some people are moved into prostitution because that's the best available on this planet because they've been cursed so far down. And I know it's hard for people to understand what I'm saying, but anything less than that would have been worse. Like, what's worse than being a prostitute is being in a horror house and being, locked away for 15 years and tortured. See, that all comes from the metaphysics. So what you have a lot of people that will say that person should be shot, that person should be this, and he should, and all intents and purposes, that's a violation of law. It causes grave heartache on the other person, but it actually emanates from people with anti-power that wanted that to happen either to the victim. Usually, it's the victim and the criminal. When I say about traffic stuff, I says police officers and the police officer pulls over at that point in life has more in common than anybody else on the planet because it's a negative interaction that was willed up. Without all that nonsense, and with actually cohesion within the police department where they don't take part in that, we have we would have Mayberry RFD. We would have Barney Fife. If you don't know what that means, a place where there's really no serious crime. And nobody gets hurt, even if there is crime. So even wanting something out of life instead of just giving it to God, again, you can talk about it all day if you have your parameters. You can say, I want this, I want that, all you want. But if you have your parameters, and again, if you're just, not everybody projects, but it's obvious that, Trump projects. It's obvious at this point. And that's not only psychological, it's metaphysical projection. The last piece of evidence was when Harris began the run and beat him, everything changed in my life. Metaphysically. I was getting places that I somehow couldn't get during the Trump presidency. And therefore, Biden is not probably any better. Well,